What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? So, for today's video, I thought I'd do something a little different. So, previously, whenever I finished a playthrough, the next video I uploaded had been just kind of a general thoughts video of, well, actually, at this point, all of them that I've done so far have been what if Smash Bros. Had DLC costumes. Feel free to check out those videos if you want my thoughts on that. But today I thought I would mix it up a little bit, and instead of doing what if or more speculation on things that I would add to some of my favorite games, I decided to talk about something that I particularly love about some of my favorite games, their opening cinematics. Opening cinematics in video games have become a bit of a lost art recently, but back in ye olden days of the early 2000s, uh, every video game used to have a really cool cutscene that basically functioned as a sort of preview of the game to come, giving you an idea of what kind of experience you were about ready to get into. Now, as time has gone on, games have kind of moved away from that. Some games still do this, but most modern games have kind of moved away from this practice, and I think that's unfortunate. Because the opening cinematics in video games were always sick as hell. So today, I want to break down my top 5 favorite opening cinematics in video games. So, starting at number 5, we have the opening cinematic from Borderlands 2. Now, Borderlands 2 is a lot of things. Subtle ain't one of them. This intro starts off pretty mild. Before this little creature here just gets absolutely fucking destroyed. Right about now. And just like that, with this little chain here, the game has already let you know pretty much what it's about. Absolutely insane action. You also got your Psycho here, going to town on a bit. You can already see the aesthetics of the game, really neat art style. And then we get to meet our main characters as their train absolutely fucks that car. Plus the song choice here. I love the vibes for this song. That said, I do have to dock some points from this intro because this song does not really fit the vibes of the rest of Borderlands 2. The rest of Borderlands 2, once you get past the intro cinematic, is very frantic action and juvenile humor, if we're being entirely honest. So this does kind of set some slightly incorrect expectations of this game being a bit more serious than it actually takes itself. Because everything about this intro at this point is kind of taking itself very seriously, like action movie style. And the rest of the game does not. But also, you get a good look at all your characters, you get an idea of what some of their abilities are just from looking at them. Like, the Siren here has some sort of cool, like, telekinesis. The other guy had a turret. Salvador here gets 2 guns, as opposed to everybody else who only gets 1 at a time, like Chub. Well, Salvador, in case you couldn't tell, I was a gun server. That's 2. And then there's Zero. Showcasing some of his abilities, sword, and you also get a little bit of the game here, and Zero as a no. So, you know, for all those reasons that I've gone over here, the intro here for Borderlands 2, clocking in at number 5, just because, honestly, the song is cool. It shows off the style. You get to see some of what the characters can do. But like I said, it doesn't really give you a good idea of what the actual vibe of Borderlands will be, so it does lose a little bit of points for that, which is why Borderlands 2 intro is coming in at number 5. However, for an intro that kind of doesn't really do any sort of gameplay showcase. Actually, most of these don't really show off any gameplay now that I'm thinking about it. But this one, clocking in at number 4, does give you very much of an idea of the type of game that you're about to play. Because coming in at number 4, we've got the intro to Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, Shadow the Hedgehog as a game is something that I've actually just recently finished playing on the channel here. Those videos. So you can get my full thoughts on the game as a whole by watching those. However, TLDR there, this game has a lot of problems, but it's a very fun game. Especially if you're somebody who grew up in the early 2000s, where everything was just so edgy. And this intro showcases that perfectly. Every other Sonic game up to this point, and even past this point, has had kind of more lighthearted intro music and general vibe. Just a bit more lighthearted and almost cartoonish, but not quite to the weird degree. This intro, on the other hand, goes a lot harder, leaning into some rock vibes. You even get to see Shadow just absolutely eviscerating some soldiers here with Chaos Blast. You get to see him riding around on a motorcycle. You get to see him with his guns. It doesn't even give you an indication of some of what's going on with the game. Factions here, you got Black Arm, Gun, Eggman. And as I did enumerate in my original game, this intro music, I Am All of Me by Crush 40, absolutely fucking slaps. This song goes hard as hell. Also, you get to see Shadow using his guns, which is a thing that you can do in the game, so it does let you know some of what you're in for when playing the game. You get to ride on motorcycles, you get to have guns, you get to fight everybody. So this game gives you a good indicator of what you're in for just with the intro itself. So if you sit there, watch that intro, first of all, you're going to feel like a badass because, like I said, the song goes hard. But also, it does let you know what you're in for. So that's why I'm putting Shadow over Borderlands, even if the intro itself is, shall we say, a little bit excessive in terms of what it's trying to accomplish. But you also have to take into effect, this game came out in 2005. Everything was extra like that. Now, for a game that also just absolutely oozes style, but does it properly. Clocking in at number 3, we have the opening cinematic from the original release of Persona 5. Now, to keep this list from being just basically only Sonic and Persona games, I did limit my choices here to only one game per series, because otherwise, I probably could have just made a list of top 5 Persona intros and called it top 5 greatest video game intros, in my opinion. Because Persona has, first of all, just so many spin-offs. Even Persona 5 alone has like 6 or 7 games. But Persona 5's original intro from the first Persona 5 game, like the main game. First of all, the song, and you will hear me mention this a lot for most of it, the song is a banger. Everything that's going on in this intro, the characters are just absolutely oozing style and their personality. You can see what a lot of these characters are about just from what they're doing in the intro here. You've got Mikaba being a hacker, Mon being a bit excessive and extra, Yusuke being an artist. You can see a lot of the characters' personality even in just a few seconds that are on. The music definitely fits the vibe of the rest of the game. And the only thing that I would dock this intro points for is that it does kind of spoil some of the later parts of the game by showing you characters who don't join your party until well over halfway through the So if I'm going to dock this intro for anything, it's that the intro does spoil later parts of the game. However, if you can look past that, and on a first playthrough, you're probably not even going to think too much about it, this intro is just an absolute bop. The music goes hard with its cool, jazzy vibes, which also fits the soundtrack for the rest of the game. Persona 5 soundtrack is probably one of, if not my favorite gaming soundtracks of all time. And also, again, just there's so much style going on in this. Everything about Persona 5 is just dripping with style. But the original intro here, just one of the best. One of the best to ever do. So that's why Persona 5's original intro is clocking in at number 3. Now, for another series that honestly I probably could have filled this list with intros from this series alone, coming in at number 2, we've got the original intro from Kingdom Hearts 2. For those of you who may not be keeping up with what's currently going on with the channel, I am actually currently in the process of going through and playing all of Kingdom Hearts in chronological order. However, since I am going in chronological order, that does mean that it will take a bit before we get to Kingdom Hearts 2.
A far-off memory that's like a scattered
everything
dream.
about Kingdom Hearts 2's intro is just
I want to line the pieces up.
peak Kingdom Hearts.
Yours.
This intro
and mine.
actually functions very well, specifically for Kingdom Hearts 2, because everything about this intro is basically serving as a recap of the story to this point. So it gives you like an understanding of what the characters are, what their dynamics are. So like we start off here with Kairi on the beach, we're transitioning to the scene with Sora, Kairi, and Riku, so you can see them all hanging out. You can understand, okay, cool, these guys are friends. And then Kairi and Riku vanish. So then you understand, okay, something happened to them. And this kid, Sora, sets out on his journey. He meets up with Donald Duck and Goofy. So you already understand within the first few seconds of this intro, okay, cool, so we're doing spiky-haired anime boys and Disney. You find out something happened to Kairi. You find out that Riku went a little bit evil at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. But also that Sora still cares for him. You get to see a little bit of a recap of the fight. You get to see Riku's transformation. So this functions very well as a recap of Kingdom Hearts 1 and even Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, which a lot of people might have skipped when they were originally going into Kingdom Hearts. So you get a good recap here of everything that's happening. Plus, the song here, Sanctuary by Ukata Hikaru, absolutely amazing. Ukata has done all of the intros for Kingdom Hearts up to and including Kingdom Hearts. To be fair, most of the games have just remixes or redos of the original intro from Kingdom Hearts 1 to be clean. I think it's only Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 Days of the second. Kingdom Hearts 3 but you also get to see here some of the character designs. You get to see Kairi's new redesign. We get to see Namine, which is when you get into sort of a recap portion for Chain of Memories, Chain of Memories, which again, a lot of people may have skipped because there's a lot of sort of spin-off side game. So context for anybody who may not be familiar with Kingdom Hearts, there's a lot of side games. They are all canon. You're not skipping them. But you get to see just some really well choreographed action. This scene here with Sora and Riku both running up the stairs is probably one of the coolest shots in this intro. Especially when you get to see Riku going down the stairs first. I think personally that's just a good shot. If there's one complaint that I do have with this intro is that it is a bit on the lengthy side. As you can see here, it does clock in at almost 5 minutes long. They basically do the entire game out of Sanctuary. But honestly, that's a very minor gripe because not the music, so I'm not essentially just getting a full ass music video at the end of the game. Especially when the song is one of her best, Sanctuary. So, like I said, this works just so well for just kind of a brief recap, prepare everybody for what's coming up in regards to with the story so far, essentially in like a 4-minute video, and then you also get to see a little bit of what's coming up next with respect to your shifts to Roxas. Which, if this is your first Kingdom Hearts game, it actually works very well that the earlier switch to Roxas. Because when you first boot up the game, the entire tutorial section has you playing as Roxas. So you're not just thrown into the game with the opening cutscene showing you Sora. You actually start off with seeing Roxas at the end of the cutscene here, before switching over to gameplay and then playing as Roxas, which sets up very well for using Kingdom Hearts as a first game. If you're playing Kingdom Hearts 2, you've never played anything else, you get a brief overview of everything so far, switches over to Roxas, and then you're like, okay, now I'm wondering what's the deal with this previous kid that you were seeing. Why was he the focus of so much of the intro, and now we're playing as this other kid? So it really makes you kind of understand, or rather, feel more connected to Roxas at the start of the game, who's also wondering what the deal is with Sora, because he kind of has to go through a whole thing, and I'm not going to get too much into it because we'll get more into that when we get to actually playing through Kingdom Hearts 2. But it just works very well to set up everything, give you a brief overview of everything that's come before, while also setting up what's going to come next. So with all of that taken into account, Kingdom Hearts 2's intro has to come in at number 2. Now, for our first and, well, not first, for our number 1 entry, we have the intro cutscene from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Now, I will be the first to admit, a large part of this intro being on this list at all probably comes from a good bit of nostalgia. For those of you who've been around for a little while, you may remember that I have already done a full playthrough of Subspace Emissary Story Mode from Smash Brawl. Again, playlist is that out. But this game, it was a toss-up for me between this intro or the one from Smash Ultimate, because they are both very good. But frankly, the music choice in Brawl, the cutscenes from Subspace Emissary, just made such a great opening cinematic here where you just get a cool showcase of all the characters that are in this game. You get to see Sonic and Snake, the first ever guest characters in Smash. You get to see a showcase of some of the newcomers like PvP. You get to see Zero Suit Samus, Meta Knight, a lot of the newcomers. Cutscenes from the story mode just make it a really cool experience here. The music swelling at all the right points. Editing is wonderful. Those here with Charizard, Olimar. Like the editing here is very well done, using actual clips of gameplay from just not even the story mode, but even just like the regular battle mode. So everything about Smash Bros. Intro cutscenes is just an absolute masterclass. The actual videos themselves still look really damn good, even by modern standards. Look at the graphics. Now, admittedly, this video has been AI upscaled to 2K. I didn't do that. But it also leads perfectly into the actual menu itself here. So, for a lot of reasons, like I said, I've gone over that. Again, a little bit more in the actual videos that I've done covering Smash Bros. Story mode. But Smash Bros. Intro is just absolutely insane. It's probably one of the best to ever do it. And the fact that it's coming in at number 1 is probably a little bit of personal bias. But if nothing else, this opening cutscene deserves to be on a top 5 list of the greatest opening cutscenes of all time. It may not necessarily deserve to be at number 1 to everybody, but at least for me personally, Smash Bros. Intro, probably the greatest ever. Now, I do just want to make everybody aware, This is ultimately, at the end of the day, just my opinion. So if you have different opinions, say for example, if you think Persona 3's intro was better than Persona 5's, or if maybe I left your favorite game out of the conversation entirely, feel free to drop a comment to let me know your thoughts. Maybe I can make a commenters edition if you guys leave enough to work with there. And if you have any other ideas for any other top fives that you may like to see me discuss, do feel free to drop those in the comments as well. Maybe your idea could be the next game break video that we drop here on the channel. But that is going to do it for this one. I hope you all have enjoyed, and I will catch you all next time.